Hey everybody, welcome back to stage 2 of the Guild Boss optimization guide. And this one we are going to go over the gear optimizations, um, roles for your gear and whatnot, and what sets you should be using, resistance blocking, what food you should use, and maybe we will move over into a little bit of hard mode as well for teams that you could be using in hard mode if you're not able to do the standard formation here. So first we're going to talk about Gother because he is the superstar of this raid. Obviously we want to get, as by way of review, this maximized gold buff as well as all 5 stacks of his passive. They are all separate individual modifiers, which means if you have Gother's buff, this gold buff, and Helbram's buff, you basically take whatever damage you do and you could multiply that by 1.5, by 1.2, by 1.3. So it's 3 extra modifiers, and that's literally translating to pure damage the way that the math works with the multiplication system that they're going to be using. So this is the gear that you're going to want to use on Gother. This isn't 5 yet. I should have done that before I started this video. Maybe this as well. But these are extremely optimized rolls. Like you do not need a 29.9% roll on Gother for this, but I did because I was trying to test some stuff on hard mode. Because being able to patience hard mode turns out impossible even with full SSR gear. But you can patience all the skills except for a silver single strike attack on hard mode, which is important to know. But this is the gear that you want for Gother. These aren't important, but if you have a higher CC when you enter battle, you'll get a few extra points for having a higher CC. So if you want to max these out, go ahead and do it. And you can even use weapons against the hard mode boss so long as you manage your cards well enough that you don't kill him too early, but I don't really recommend it right now. But if you're just begging for those extra points for your CEC, you could go right ahead on the hard mode and put on your highest attack gear possible as well. But again, I don't recommend it. The main thing is to get all defensive sets on him and all defensive sets on his sub unit. I'm just using our gear with high resistance rolls because it's very cheap and very easy to re-roll those. And you can get up to a huge amount of resistance this way. He has a base resistance of 60, and with his costumes, you can get up to 136% resistance. I am actually maybe a little bit more. Let me just double check my costumes real quick. Make sure everybody is using a cosmetic that has a resistance roll on it. This one has a resistance roll on it. This is a resistance roll on it. This is a resistance roll. This is a resistance roll, and this is the best. This is from the blue SSR Gother. So if you do not have him, that really sucks. You need to get this because it gives 4 resistance. It's beefy as hell. For the ones that I don't have, this gives 2% resistance. So I can get another 0.5% if I bought this one. I'm not going to. Spoiler alert. But it does bother me that I don't have the optimal one because I could trade out one of these 1.5s. So I can get another 0.5 here, and then I can get another 0.9 from getting 30% of the 30% on the rolls. But that would be the maximum amount that you can get from Gother's resistance. His absolute maximum value is 136% resistance. And then with resistance food, you add that, you can patience the normal boss completely. All of his skills, including his silver guards. I do not recommend that though. I do recommend just trying to dodge his base skills and not getting hit by the ultimate or the skill single strikes that are silver cards on Gother and running crit damage or attack food. So which one do you run? Well, depending on your Jericho, and I will just show off the king here. King would be better served as being a houser for this raid, but for the hard mode, if you have a 6/6 king, which I doubt you do, but if you do, use him for the upgraded ultimate on hard mode to remove the boss's ultimate for 2 turns instead of just 1 turn. Like, it could be 2 turns with really, really good RNG, but not generally it's not. But this is the equipment that you want on Gother's sub. Basically, all defense gear. Again, these could be SSR 5-star. If you have like crap tons of defense gear coming out your ass, you could rank your HP up a little bit more, get a higher CC for a higher score. But you want to put your absolute best defense gear. I should really change some of these rolls. Not right now though. Put your absolute best defense gear on the sub unit for Gother. Obviously, you want high rolled items. So if you haven't been farming defense gear, then shame on you. I feel shameful for this one. I should actually try and re-roll this right now for gems just on screen to show everybody that I'm a mega. Oh wow, wow. That I should record when I do things from now on. That was awesome. Anyway, The higher base value, the better, because when things are UR, if you can stamp these to a unit that you're going to be using underneath him, they'll get an extra flat damaged, flat defense or HP or attack damage based off of this number right here. So you want it as high as possible. But generally, only rank up perfect gear like this earring if you find any. Anyway, this is how you build them. The maximum defense value possible. You cannot transfer resistance, obviously. You can only transfer base stats. So just roll defense on these. It's not worth putting resistance, even though resistance is a better defensive stat. So that's what you're going to be running for your Gother. The only thing that you truly need here is on your subunit R defense gear in the middle slot, ranked up with as much defense as possible for percent rolls, and C gear top and bottom, completely clean, unrolled. And for Gother, same thing, only you want to have these ranked up to 5-star and all resistance rolls. Like I could put C gear for these 4 slots that's completely empty, and it would not change the run at all. It would change my CC score slightly, but Gother's not going to take any damage or enough damage to ever die, even in a bad run. So it's just impossible for him to die with this build. So you could do that as a budget. So really want to have a budget option for people who do not have the idea in their head that this is going to be something cheap for them to do, that you have to have this like crazy whale amount of crap so that you could be able to pull off this run. It is very easy to pull off this run. This and this are your only pieces that you 100% need on Gother. If you actually had to, you can just go buy all C gear for the rest of the slots. That's all you need. Next, Merlin. We explained Merlin in the last video for why she's optimal. We're not going to go into the gear for these 2 units or their subs, but basically all defense on both of them too, so they take as little damage as possible, or HP defense, whatever makes them the most survivable with what you have, that is what you want to have. And then we get on to Jericho, because this is basically a run about Gother and Jericho here. This is here for a sweet buff that he has, and this is here for that sweet ice. And it's better than Gustav because the Pierce is actually not beneficial for your run. So on Jericho, you're going to be most likely running an attack crit damage set. The reason that you're not going to run full crit damage is because the damage difference is only 0.006%, or 6,000 per every million damage dealt. And that is just not optimal. It's just not good to run that, because you're going to make all this crit damage gear that you're not going to use for anything else. And the actual amount of output you get is so small, it's just really not worth it. So you're going to use this, and instead of rolling all attack on everything, you're just going to do a split build here. So what you want to do is either, and this changes based on the person, when you're making your gear, if you have really insane luck with crit damage rolls over attack rolls, go 7 crit damage rolls, 3 attack rolls, and use attack food for your run. If you are getting what I did 7 attack rolls, 3 crit damage rolls, and I use crit damage food for my run. That would be the optimal way that you can set up your gear with your damage. Obviously, you can purchase this for coins in the PvP shop. The orbs you have to pull from PvP chests. And get them to +5 if you want, or even use SSR gear if you need the extra survivability and you have the money. Do whatever you want with these pieces. But this is just the way that I build my Jericho. The only really important things that you need here are this and this. For all you need to, these could just be R pieces. You don't, even these as well. It definitely helps your survivability, especially in hard mode, but the only 100% necessary things to maximize your damage are this piece and this piece. So that, so far we only need 4 pieces of gear for the entire thing. And ideally on the subunits for Jericho and Gother, you have an ideal build as well. So let's go into the build for Gila, which, just like the build for your subunit for Gother, is the exact same. Because only base stats transfer over, you want to have the absolute maximum value of attack. So while you should have a split set of attack crit damage on Jericho, you should have your absolute best attack gear on Gila. I'm using blue Gila because I don't have crap tons of SSR Gila tokens, but I would like to have an SSR Gila in the future because she is a fair bit stronger. And it could probably boost me another 100 or 150 attack or so, which translates to a ton of damage. But these are the pieces that I'm using on my SSR Gila. These would be defense if I was better organized in my equipment right now, but I just didn't feel like it, so I just put these on. But you would build her attack defense, and that would be it. And this is, like, these are just pure attack rolls. Let's maximize the amount of attack on your Jericho. Make sure, obviously, she's 6'6". She's an SR unit. She's very easy to 6'6". If you can't a 6'6" an SSR unit, then there is no help for you. But that is all you need to know for gear. For Helbram, for Merlin, whatever you can do to make their survivability the highest, that's all you need to do. They need to survive to cast one buff and one ice. They're not doing any damage. They're not doing anything important. She freezes, he buffs. This guy gets his passive, he buffs. This lady right here gets a 6/6 ultimate and blows the boss to smithereens. That is it. Okay? All right. And that is basically all I really want to talk about in this video, just to make sure that everybody knows that they can do everything easily. Now, I guess I can get into resistance blocking with resistance food. So right now, this Gother will not take damage from the normal boss if I run resistance food. It's crit resistance versus actual resistance. All right, so we'll do a run. So if I go into the boss right now, my defense is so high and my resistance is so high that the boss is he's not gonna hurt me. He's not gonna hurt me at all. Also, I should point out that one of the reasons that crit damage food, 7 attack rolls, 3 crit damage rolls, is better with the crit damage food is because unless you crit, the whole team's doing less damage. Attack food might make your attack a little bit too high, and maybe like Helbram would damage the boss. But it is important to note that even a 6-star level 60 Helbram will not damage the boss, so 6-star no problem. I don't know about making them 75. I'm kind of skeptical to do it. Make sure that on red Merlin, red Gother, and green Helbram, when you do this raid, to maximize the amount of turns that you can do and throw attacks at the boss, take off their cosmetic weapons. And then you'll do less damage. Simple, simple, simple. Always start with those 4 cards for your run. And hopefully the boss will attack us with a silver card this run. If not, just trust me, I get patience. And even if the boss hits me with an ultimate on Gother, which would also be nice to see this run, it will still hit patience. Resistance food runs are nice because everybody is benefiting from the resistance in the survivability department. So even if your Jer gets focused like this, it's not a problem at all. Let's see, and obviously we cast this first, so we don't have any debuffs on the boss at the end of the turn still, which is nice. We can keep stacking up Gother stacks, and we're doing almost no damage to the boss, which is the goal. You do want to have all 3 of the boss's buffs done at the end of the turn, obviously, or sorry, end of the run, but you don't want to run too many turns. And we are just not drawing good at all. Turn 3. Normally, oh, there we go, silver card, patience. All right, that's all we really wanted to see here. So that is basically the boss's strongest skill, other than his ultimate. His ultimate, you can click on him and check out his multipliers. We will check things out here for a second. The ultimate hits 385. The silver card hits 350. The poison card hits the poison card is right here. It hits 350, and this one hits 360. So the ultimate is very slightly stronger. This is not true on the hard boss. The hard boss has an AoE ult on the other mode. So it actually, the ult is weaker than that spike skill where he jumps and prods you a bunch of times with his little spiky hand things. But hopefully Gother gets hit by the ultimate here, so it can show you that it's possible to patience the ultimate as well with good enough numbers. It's just not optimal, generally. Oh, Jericho's going to take a critical. Oh, if she got crit and died, it would have been hilarious. Anyway, but basically that's it for this run. I guess we can finish the run up because we didn't really have a good crit roll reset in the last one. Combine those, and we'll get Jericho's ultimate here as well. What turn are we on? Turn 4. In the last video, I wasn't really able to demonstrate a good crit reset, so hopefully we can do it on this one. But then we drew no rank ups, so it doesn't matter. All right, I'm just going to quit this one out and go over to the hard mode because I do want to cover the hard mode combinations. But the idea is, if you want to really just be lazy, you can use the resistance food on Gother with this build and not take any damage at all. You don't need that high defense and that high resistance, though, to just do the regular greedy attack food run where you use crit damage food or attack food. It's not that difficult to meet that threshold. It's like 120 or so resistance, or maybe even lower. It's very, very easy. You should be able to do it effortlessly, even without a lot of costumes for Gother. Now, for the hard mode, you're basically always going to have to run resistance food, even with SSR gear, to block the ultimate. I could be wrong on that, but this run is a lot harder. So I'll go into it and I'll show you that it's a giant pain in the ass. Do it for everybody, and I'll explain kind of the dream RNG for hard mode, because that's going to be what most people are going to be struggling with right now. I think that everybody has normal mode for the most part down pat, because it's just very, very simple. But this guy right here is a heck of a lot stronger. So, just adjust this mic. On this mode, the first thing we want to do to win, we've already lost. The boss got 2 orbs on turn 1. It is very possible for him to get 1 or 0 orbs. 0 orbs is the best because then you know that you don't need good Gother RNG to start. And we're just going to cast away all these cards because I would rather have the option to move combine 2 Gother cards next turn. If he starts with 0 orbs, you actually have 4 turns, not 3 turns, to get Gother's ultimate to reduce his alt gauge. Oh, we got to combine there, and we got to move combine. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I can get Gother's ultimate this turn. So this actually just turned into a really good run, potentially. All right, so we move combine, then we cast, and then we cast. And then we're just going to cast this, well, you know what? I'm going to cast the spike because Jericho's crit rate is low right now, and combining into a 2-star would really screw me for later, whereas a 2-star poison's not so bad, or bleed, or whatever the hell she does. This time, the boss has HP related stats buffed, so it doesn't matter if you remove all of his buffs or not. You can do the kill at any time. And we are actually drawing very well here. This is actually really good for us. I kind of want the boss to ultimate here, but I kind of want to take it away because this is a good run. But Gother with the resistance food, with my threshold, he will resist the ultimate as well. This is his in-battle defense. This is his resistance, 164.6. That is obscenely high. You don't need that high to remove it. But this would be the golden ideal run for this boss. I probably should have cast this card here sooner, and arguably I should keep this Gother card for now as well. The only thing that's sketchy right here, it is turn 3. Should I keep this Jericho card or not? I'm going to just throw it away just because I want to build the stacks and hope I draw another one instead. But I should have cast the Sprinkle to take away to do the attack disable on the boss before the ultimate there. But taking away the 5 orbs is basically going to guarantee that this turn he doesn't get. He just got 2 orbs for casting a single attack, and he hit Gother. So that's the end of the run. So he, even with the resistance food, the single strike spike, which is the only skill he cast last turn, of course, just to screw with me. Look at this RNG too. 1, 2. We got. Anyway, that kind of blows. Get rid of that and get rid of this, I guess. Just cast a 3-star freeze. That is really crappy. This would have actually been like a golden run otherwise. But as you can see, he's not casting the ult this turn, even after attacking last turn. So you get a 2-turn buffer. But I can't believe the one card was actually the silver single strike card, and he hit me. But as you could also see, I actually didn't draw a Jericho card. So it's kind of crappy. So what we would do here, we would, let's see, what turn is it? It's turn 5. Okay, well, at least maybe Jericho survives here if we're lucky, and I could actually demonstrate that Gother will be able to tank. Let's see, we'll cast it. Yeah, no, that's right. All right, we'll cast 2 buffs for extra points. We'll cast 2 gold cards for extra points. And if Jericho doesn't die, maybe this could actually still be a mediocre run, but I don't have 5 for Gother stack, so it's not going to be. But I will be able to demonstrate that Gother is able to patience the ultimate skill because the AoE skill is a bit weaker. It's just that single strike silver card that is bad against him. So do we get a single Jericho card? Nothing. All right, so no more Jericho cards. I eat my words from what I said, but as you can see, patience on Gother, he did not take any damage at all, even though Jericho's gimped here. But that is the reason that you're going to be running resistance food on your hard mode, because if you can't get the great RNG and remove the boss's ultimate, then the other way is just to get good RNG on the targeting from the boss and have all of your units just survive the ultimate, which is a little bit more annoying to do than just having the ultimate not take place at all. And then for the super plebs, what you're going to want to do is run Gustav instead of Merlin. I know after all this shit I talked, he's still super useful because Merlin turns out is an amazing hero. And you're going to want to run this green Merlin to do the Merlin shield run. So you go in, you put your next best attack gear on Merlin, whatever that may be. Let's go with this. This looks nice. There, look at all this attack here I have. Amazing. Amazing. Do I have any defense pieces though? No. And I don't plan on changing things around just for the sake of the video. It's a waste of time. And then you can just have Helbram's gear. So equipment, exchange. Where are you? Helbram? There we go. All right, and we'll just do that. So for this run, same kind of thing applies, though you could actually instead run attack food. Put that attack food on. Putting the attack food on is going to make Merlin's shield a little bit beefier, so it's kind of on par with the resist food, and Gothar's not going to have, even if he takes silver strike attacks, it's going to damage him, but nothing's going to break his shield. So long as you keep a level 1 shield up, you can keep building Gothar stacks. And the rationale for this is if you're not able to patience the boss's other skills, like his ultimate, his AoE poisons, and things like that, on hard with your current Gothar gear, then you're not going to be able to build Gothar's passive. If you're not going to be able to build Gothar's passive, then to be honest, you're kind of shit out of luck, because Helbram's buff is weaker than Gothar's passive with his buff. So it's basically a 1.5 modifier for a 1.3 modifier. So running Merlin, if you're not going to have the option of Gothar's passive, running Merlin to guarantee that passive, oh, look at that. But running Merlin to guarantee his passive is a million times better than running Helbram and then dealing with like the terrible RNG. We have some terrible RNG here already because it looks like Merlin is getting, Jericho is getting focused here. But we also get the extra orb, which is nice. So I've already got an ultimate on Gothar. The real down, and the number one thing is we only actually need 1 ice here. The super downside is Jericho is totally getting focused. And I guess we could, she's just going to straight up die. So we could do this right now, I guess. And then I'm just going to throw away this ultimate and this card, because if we don't build Jericho's, well, actually, it looks like it doesn't really matter here. We didn't draw another shield, so because we didn't draw another shield, the boss is just going to hit us, and that was just kind of a crap. Like, it was great rank up hand, but it was crappy for everything else. Like what I'm doing right here is really not good. What you want to do is just use single. Wow, this is insane. I gotta quit this shit. What you really want to do is just use single Merlin strikes, so the boss keeps getting his ultimate every turn, and it only does. We'll redo this one just one time to show the optimal. But you ideally draw just the single ones, and you keep using like a single one every turn, because if he procs his ult and then you remove it, then he casts 1 skill less every turn, and it's really good for your survivability. So again, attack food for that shield buff. And you put like attack defense gear on your Gila, so Jericho has very slightly more defense, obviously, but I'm just too lazy to do that. And this would be like your newbie version run for how you run the ult. And other than that, I think we've covered crit resetting and damage rolling enough. If it's not clear, then I will say it again one more time. Every single attack, regardless of whether it gets patienced or not, does have a damage roll and a crit roll. So you can change the damage roll and the crit roll that you get, regardless of whether or not it's being patienced by the boss, which is nice. Every skill has a different roll per hit that skill does. So right now, like Jericho's bleed, for example, and Merlin's single tap, they are both multi-hit skills. This skill hits 3 times, and Jericho's skill hits 6 times. It's really difficult to see Jericho's skill. Like it casts like really annoyingly fast, and it's difficult to tell that it's actually hitting that amount of times. It looks like it hits 5 times, but if you pause it, like, and you like, if you record it and you slow down the speed to like 0.25 speed, and you pause it just the right time, then you can actually see that it is hitting 6 times. Oh wow, look at this. All right, so we've got a shield, and we got Gothar rank ups forever. So this would this is actually depressing that it's not a real run for me, because I'm going to have so many Gothar buffs to cast. All right, Well, this is what we're going to actually do here. So first we're going to roll back the boss's ult. Then we're going to rank up with Gother, and then we're going to rank up with Gother again to get 2 buff casts to stack a ton of points. And then we're going to put a gold shield down because that's just going to protect us from forever. And if we don't get a roll back here, we need to get some Jer cards. But this is literally the ideal run for this type of run. I'm getting tons of points for casting buffs here, which is the only extra way to get more points other than survivability and whatnot. Here I'm going to, wow, even that skill just does nothing. Okay, so we're going to move and move. We will dodge the ultimate here, I think. We'll cast another buff on Gother just because, and then we will cast, next turn we'll do our damage re-rolling with Jericho. Okay. All right, so this is the ideal run. So where are we? We are turn 5. We're turn 5, so we actually only have 4 Gother stacks, but that's when the shield runs out if you only had 2 shields. So we've got 4 Gother stacks here. This is generally where you want to end the run. If you're using this strategy, you're not doing enough damage to justify the 5th Gother stack because you need to do about 3 million damage for it to be worth the point reduction for the amount of turns used. So what we're going to do here, this skill hits like 1 time or 2 times or so, I forget what it is. We'll use it. We'll use the silver, but no, we'll use the gold one for the more points. But this is our options right now. He doesn't have any debuffs, so this is safe. So we can do single card spike, then we can do sprinkle, and then we can do freeze, and then Jericho's ultimate. So the video is going to run a few minutes longer. If you know how to do this already and you don't want the demonstration, that's fine. So what we're going to do first is count like this is 3 hits, this is 1 hit. So this attack right now, this is roll 5 of my damage. So if it crits, I'm going to take a note of how much damage that does. If it's not a crit, it's not a roll that we're going to be using for this run because we don't have the 30% crit rate, so it's frequent that we don't crit. All right, so 2 million damage hit. So that was a 2 million damage hit, almost even. So just keep that in your head that it's a 2 million damage hit. Next, we're going to go and we're going to start re-rolling for a higher damage roll with our attack. So what I'll do is I'll just cast the freeze. Now I do want to maximize points, so I will cast. I'll cast skill still before. Like it'd be better instead of just doing freeze than the ultimate. While you are going to try that roll, it gives you less points because you cast less cards. Especially because I've got a bunch of golds up right now. Golds actually are better. If it's just single cards like bronzes or silvers, then you'll get more points for blocking out the square. But I've got golds right now, so it's worth more points to cast the golds than it is to block out the square. And what I mean by blocking out the square, if you're not aware, you can just click a square and then pass that skill, and it'll give you 5 points for not using the skill. It's also important to know for if you get your damage roll the turn before, and you want to keep that roll, you pass the squares so you don't change any of your rolls for the next turn when you have max Gother stacks. Like if I had another Merlin shield right here, and I wanted to go for 5 Gother stacks, which, like I said, you never would want to, but let's just say if I did, or if I was on my other mode where I'm using the full team and I want to go for a 5th Gother stack, then I would test my damage rolls this turn, and then I would lock those rolls just by doing this, because you actually have to use a damaging move or a heal to change your roll. All right, so last time we did sprinkle and this ice skill. Oh, no, so we did this attack and then the ice roll. So we will use this attack, and we will use this, and then we will count the hits through the ice, and 2 million damage basically flat is the score to beat. I know that's never going to crit, by the way, every single time because it didn't crit last time. All right, that only hits 1 time. So this is roll 3. And roll 3 isn't even a crit, so we're not even going to use that. So next, we're going to use, let's see, we have a sprinkle and the ultimates. That might be it. We might not have any extra rolls. And the reason that I'm not going to bother doing the freeze by itself in Jericho's ult right away is because that's not a crit. I already know. That's why I actually started with Jericho's red card. But normally, if there was a chance for it to crit, then I would check that one to see the damage on that as well. But that's why using Jericho cards in this situation is kind of a little bit nicer than using other cards from other are the units. So in this particular roll, it looks like I only have the potential to roll one single crit, and that crit happens to be 2 million. If it was two different crits and one of them was 1.8 million, the other one was 2 million, I would take the one that did 2 million, obviously, and I would just restart, rejoin the raid, and I would click the same combinations of skills that would give me the roll that I got the 2 million on. So if you're wondering how I know it's like if you just missed that little bit, I know that the first roll is not a crit with Jericho. If you're paying attention last turn or last run, when I said I can keep casting this first all the time because I know that the first roll is not a crit roll. So knowing that this roll is not a crit roll lets me just get away with that. So this roll is not a crit roll, so roll one's not a crit roll. Using this and a single strike means roll. Oh, actually, I do have one more option. All right, so we do sprinkle, ice, and then Jericho ulti. So this would be my only other option, unless I missed this does two, and it actually does. Yeah, this would be my only other option, and then I would just blanket the square. So if this is a crit, then we'll keep this one if it's higher than 2 million. Because this is roll 4. So I did 5, 3, yeah. So that's not a crit either. So roll 5 and roll. So roll 5 is a crit. Roll 3 and roll. What was the other one? Roll 4. Yeah. Roll 3 and roll 4 are not crits, and neither is roll 1. So if roll 2. Sorry, roll 2 is not a crit either. Okay, so we know roll 1's not a crit. We know roll 2 is not a crit. Roll 3 would have been two single attacks, which we tried that as well. All right, I'm gonna have to look at the cards again to remember. I believe we've done roll 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and there was only a single crit roll, so we would take that crit roll. But ideally, in this recording, I would have had like 2 or 3 crits, and then I could show that there's a damage difference between all of them. I'm sure you could just, like, you can use your brain and look at all the, rewind and look at all the single damage hits that weren't crits. They'll all be different values because the crit is one roll, but the damage variance is another roll. I know a friend of mine thinks that the damage variation is as much as 20%. I disagree. I think the damage variation is 10%. I think it's 95 to 105% damage. He believes it's 90 to 110% damage. I've not seen that much variation. All right, so the things that we've tried this plus sprinkle. We've tried this and this plus attack. All right, so we've done this. We've done this. Freeze. So there's one. We've done this, which I believe is the one that we're going to be going with. That's 2. We know that just hitting this is my first attack roll because it's a damaging card. So this is the exact same as doing this. That's what I'm saying. Because I'm casting this first every time, I know that roll 1 is that way. We could also test probably other rolls like that. All right, so that's roll 1. Roll 1 does not work. Then roll 2 would be casting this, and then the freeze, and then the ultimate. Which, did we test that? I honestly, I don't remember, so we'll do one more. I'm pretty sure that we did test this. Yeah, not a crit. Anyway, roll 3 would be 2 single strikes and then the ultimate, which we did. We did that with the gold Gustav card. Roll 4 is just the sprinkle and the attack. Roll 5 is the sprinkle as well as Jericho's basic attack, which is preferred because it gives us another 10% crit rate. And then that's the one we're going to go with because that one we do know actually crit. And there's no other amount of rolls we can get. We don't have any other multiple hitting attacks up. If we had a Jericho bleed skill, that would be pretty awesome because the boss has plenty of HP here. But we're just going to close this one off by getting the 2 million crit and look at whatever score we had for this run. Now, if you had attack gear like mine, you could definitely do this run if your survivability gear is lacking. So this is going to be up to the individual players because even with the shield up, the other characters like Gustav and Halbram, they do take quite a bit of damage. So if you don't have good defensive gear, like farm up defense and HP gear. Everybody goes straight for attack gear. Defense and HP gear is quite a lot more valuable, in my opinion, for different types of PvE content, because everybody's probably loaded with attack gear. Just get a few sets, like I think get 2 or 3 attack sets, and then just all HP defense until the end of time. All right, so we're going to do this, and then sprinkle, and then ice, and then we will get our 2 million. This exact same thing for the 2 million roll, we will get it again this time, because that roll stays consistent no matter what we do. The rolls are predetermined. So this is going to be a 2 million crit. There, 2 million 20. All right. And that's the run. And that's the reset. That's the damage reset. That's the crit reset. That's the gear. That's the formations. And that is almost a 1,500 point score. What in the hell? All right. So the bonus missions this week are really easy, it looks like. Yeah. The bonus missions this week are really easy. But a 1350 score, if there's a week where the missions are garbage and we can't get any, that would be a very respectable score with the Merlin run. Now, if you remember, the reason this run was even that high, though, is because of all of the extras that I did. I cast a lot of gold cards, and I applied buffs to the tune of 88 points, which is definitely not going to happen every single time. If I had 88 points on my main run right now, I'd be like over 3,600 points on the weekly. But I did not get as lucky as I did in this run with those buff combines. I think I cast 3 Gother buffs, and each one is 24 points each, plus the cast of a gold card, which is another 15 points. So it's like that really ranks up your points quite a lot. So if you're fishing for good RNG and you're having to do the Merlin strategy, that's what you're going to go for. And like my score was only 2 million hit. Now I don't think you're going to hit with bad gear in the 2 million range with the Merlin strategy on a 4 stack. But the reason you want to go 4 stack, this point reduction of 114 goes up to like 193 or maybe 197. I can't remember. But it's close to 200 point reduction, and to do enough damage, you get 1 point proportional to the great damage dealt. This is 1 point for every 2,500 points of damage. Now this is another thing I was showing. For every 1,000 combat class you have, you also get a point for this. So this is why it's slightly better to have stronger defensive gear, even though you can run your Gother with just C gear in the middle slot. If you could eventually get like his belt and his orb up to like SSR, you'll get a few extra points from doing it for every 1,000 you go up. So it's nice to have full gear. Obviously, I'm gonna want to have my CC in like the 160 to 180,000 range at one point in the future, in the distant future. So I'll get another 32 points or so from that. But try to get yourself at least around 120 to 140,000 CC for the hard boss on your sub gear. But for just entry level, just stick with the basics for what you need. Focus on the things that are really important that you're going to get the almost all of your points from, which is a massive Jericho hit and a lot of Gother stacks. All right, that is going to be the end of this this guide. If there's any questions or anything that I didn't remember to cover, please just leave a comment down below or PM me on Discord. Great.